Good day to you, child of God. This is the Remnant Seed Bible Study Channel, and welcome. The New Jerusalem. I want to show you what's really going on over there in that part of the world and where the real dispute is. In Ezekiel chapter 16, God made it an eternal covenant with this area, this part of the world called Jerusalem, Israel. And it's his favorite place in the whole universe. He made an eternal covenant with that land. Our God did. YHVH made an eternal covenant with that land. And this is where he will dwell for eternity after the great white throne judgment. YHVH Shema, God will dwell there with mankind. This will be his dwelling place where his throne will be set up. And this is what the dispute is about. It's not about a people. It's not about anything like that. It's about Satan and God. Satan wants to sit on the throne of God. And you can find this in Isaiah chapter 14. And Satan tried to do this before in the first world age. He tried to steal the kingdom of God away, tried to sit on the throne himself. And this is where the dispute is. So you're either on the side of Satan or you're on the side of God. And that's where the dispute over this land comes from. It's the devil who's behind all of the people over there who have claim to have the rightful ownership of this piece of land, tiny little strip of land over there. And the so-called, I'm going to try to keep this where YouTube won't take it down, but the so-called, I'll call them the so-called Palestinians, which there's no such thing, lay claim to this area, and they claim that it was theirs first. But I can take you all the way back to 1400 BC when God gave this land to Abraham. And he wanted his children around him. He wanted them there where he dwells. He wanted all of his children. And this includes the Gentiles. And this is going to be the so-called, I would just call it the center of the universe. This is where God is going to dwell. And the dispute is this is where Satan wants to dwell. Okay, you see the battle? It's not about a people or a strip of land. This is a battle between good and evil and Satan and God. And that's why this land has been the most hotly contested land in the world, that little strip of land. And also I want to talk to you about tribal nomenclature. You cannot exchange the word Jew for an Israelite. It doesn't work, and that's what most of the modern church does. They substitute Israelite with the word Jew, and the word Jew is the English rendition of Iuras or Iudi. It's a Judean of the tribe of Judah. Now you got three meanings, okay? You're a Jew by DNA, or of Judah, the tribe of Judah by DNA, or you can be Jewish in the sense of the Jewish religion. And I won't even go into that. There's two types, the Torah Jew and the Talmudic Jew. And the Talmudic Jew is the equivalent of the Mormon in our modern Christianity. There's so much deception going on in the world about this. So you cannot interchange Jew and Israelite. And an Israelite includes all the other 11 tribes, the tribe of Benjamin, the tribe of Manasseh, Ephraim, the tribe of Dan. All of those are Israelites, but they're not Jews. You can't interchange the tribe of Dan with the tribe of Judah. They're all given their specific names, and then you can read of their traits in Genesis. They're very different. They're distinct from one another, and all of them have different traits. Just like when you as a parent have kids, every one of your children are different. They have different traits. And this comes from just the selection of genetics, and you can't interchange them. So anyway, this is so frustrating to see pastors interchange the word Jew with an Israelite, and they have no understanding about the 10 lost tribes of Israel. And another thing you have to understand is that after the captivities and the dispersion of the southern tribes of Judah and Benjamin and the 10 northern tribes, they've never been joined back together, and they're always referred to separately as the house of Judah and the house of Israel. And this is God's doing, and they will not be joined back together until the time of the end. And the reason for this is because most of the modern tribe of Judah today is still waiting for the Messiah. They don't believe that Jesus Christ is the Messiah. They believe he was a prophet. And that's the reason God separates them in this manner. And there are many times, I've done so many videos on this where God refers to them in this way. Okay, now this is going to be short after I get through blabbing my mouth here. Okay, the tribe of Judah, as well as the other 11 tribes, are now living in Israel. Okay, all these tribes are there. And a lot of these people don't know, that they're not able to distinguish the difference between a Jew or a Gentile or the tribe of Dan or Benjamin. They just lump them all into one lump and call them all Jews. And there's also the family of Satan there as well. And you have this represented in the good and the bad figs. And it's described in Jeremiah 24. And then Revelation 2 calls them the synagogue of Satan, the bad figs. And then you have the parable of the fig tree in Matthew 24. And this was set into motion in 1948 when Israel became a nation state again. And it's referred to as the tender fig shoot. When you see that shoot set out, know that the end is near. This is the last generation. And Christ himself said this. The Lord has made an eternal covenant with the city of Jerusalem, found in Ezekiel 16. And originally, it was founded by the Jebusites and called Jebus. And then David conquered it, and it was called Jerusalem, the city of peace. And the whole chapter of 16 of Ezekiel explains this in a metaphor of that land being a beautiful woman that God married. He placed his skirt over her and married this place and made an eternal covenant with her. And this is his dwelling place for eternity. And the Palestinians, Hamas, Hezbollah, were never invited into Israel by God, and make no mistake about that. The descendants of Jacob are the rightful owners of this land. And most people lump up the good and the bad figs into one lump due to their erroneous conclusions about the Jews or the Judeans, the tribe of Judah. Most of the world doesn't understand the source of the hate for Israel. Most people wouldn't know a Judean from a Gentile, much less a Danite from a Benjamite, or a Kenite, which are the bad figs that were planted there, and Christ himself said this. America has the largest population of the 12 tribes of Israel, and this includes the Jews or the Judeans, and we have more than any other nation. And we're mostly made up of the tribes of Ephraim and Manasseh, as well as all the other tribes. America is truly a melting pot. We're tied to the people of Israel as brothers and sisters in the family of YHVH. We are not tied by the actions of the bad figs. And beloved, do not blame the good figs for the behavior of the bad figs. And too many Christians and too many people in my own study group, they all lump these figs up into one lump, and they think that Jerusalem is illegitimate and it's full of bad figs, and there's no good figs over there. And this couldn't be further from the truth. The nation state of Israel that was put back together in 1948 is legitimate in God's eyes. Make no mistake about it. It's the same exact geographical location that God told Joshua to go in and conquer and basically kill all of the inhabitants of Canaan. And it sounds rather harsh, but this is what God wanted Joshua to do. And he went in and possessed that land. All right, so many ignorant people who side with the Palestinians and want to take Israel out permanently, and you know what I mean by that. They've said it openly. They want to drive every Israelite into the sea, and they want them all dead. They're not aware that they may be descendants of the 10 lost tribes of Israel. Can you imagine that, beloved? And this is the height of ignorance and the effectiveness of the propaganda in the world today. And we see this on a massive level. Everybody today is lying. It's hard to find any truth in the land. People are being bamboozled by a bunch of terrorists and having their land stolen, and they promote it. It just boggles my mind how dumb this is. And beloved, listen to this. They would also invite these same terrorists into their living room, backpack and all. And if you get my drift, and I'll just leave that there, beloved. Now, here we got the parable of the fig tree. Matthew 24:32. Now learn a parable of the fig tree when his branch is yet tender. Now this means you don't plant fig trees with seeds. It's a shoot. His branch is yet tender. It means this is a shoot that was just planted. And speaking about 1948, and this was known by God all along, that this would happen in 1948. And don't make any mistakes about this. This is a legitimate nation state of Israel we're talking about. When the fig shoot is first planted, know that the end times are here. 1948 was a benchmark. And this would be the beginning of the end. And we are truly in the end times, beloved. And this was our benchmark. There's no mistake about this. Now let's go to Jeremiah 24:2. One basket had very good figs, even like the figs that are first ripe, and the other basket had very naughty figs, and they're the Kenites, the sons of Cain, the synagogue of Satan, mentioned in Revelation 2 and 3, which could not be eaten. They're so bad. For I will set my eyes upon them, and I will bring them again into this land after the captivity and dispersion. God promised that Israel would come back to his homeland. And I will build them, and I will not pull them down, and I will plant them and not pluck them up. This is the parable of the fig tree. But the Lord liveth, now we go to Jeremiah 23:8, another way of saying this, another testament to this. But the Lord liveth, which brought up and which led the seed of the house of Israel out of the north country and from all countries, whither I have driven them, and they shall dwell in their own land again. Now let's go to the covenant that God made with this land in Ezekiel 16:8. This is the verse that states the eternal covenant. I'm not going to go over the whole chapter. You should read it yourself. Now when I passed by thee, and God is speaking about this land of Israel, and looked upon thee, behold, thy time was the time of love, and I spread my skirt over thee, and covered thy nakedness. Yeah, I swear unto thee, and entered into a covenant with thee, saith the Lord God, and thou becamest mine. The land of Israel is God's. Make no mistake about it. He made a covenant with it. He loves that land. And that's why the devil wants it. And that's why you see the dispute over this land. And that's why the people of Israel are hated by the rest of the world. It's just the way it is. Not just the Jews, the other 11 tribes as well. They may be lost, but they're not lost to God. And I know where they're at, and those who are studied up know where they're at as well. The bad figs in Jeremiah 24 are the family or the synagogue of Satan. Now let's go to Revelation 2:9. I believe this is a reference to these bad figs, beloved. I know thy works and tribulation, speaking to this particular church, which was either Smyrna or Philadelphia, and poverty, but thou art rich in the spirit. You're rich in spiritual gifts. And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews, and they're not, and they're of the synagogue of Satan. And synagogue here in the Greek is simply the family of Satan. And Smyrna and Philadelphia taught the identity of the fake Jews, and they were the only two churches found in good standing with Christ as he addressed the 7 churches. Okay, now here we got the verse that describes the eternal dwelling place of our Father, Yahweh. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. And I, John, saw the holy city, the new Jerusalem, coming down from God, from out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a great voice out of heavens saying, behold, the tabernacle of God is with them. And this is Yahweh Shemal, is dwelling with men. And he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people. And God himself shall be with them and be their God. Beloved, that is so beautiful. That is so beautiful. But I want you to see where the dispute is and why this land is so hotly contested by the children of Satan, beloved. Make no mistake about it. This is who is contesting this land. They want this land for themselves because they know this is God, this is Yahweh's eternal dwelling place. Don't underestimate the devil. He knows the Bible. He knows God's word. He knows that this is the eternal dwelling place of God. And he wants that place more than anything. He wants to just read Isaiah chapter 14. And you will see he wants to sit on the side of the north where God's throne is. And 2 Thessalonians 2 says the same thing. He wants to sit on the throne of God, claim to be God. In his second rebellion, the second overthrow is coming up. Revelation 12:9. And I want you to see the source of this controversy between Satan and God. And this is what it's all about. It's the Palestinian. There's no such thing as a Palestinian. Okay, beloved, I want to share something with you, some of my thoughts about current events, about these 2 hurricanes. Beloved, I believe our weather is being controlled. And they have the technology. And this is no conspiracy. This is a proven fact. The Virginia-class submarines carry a microwave cannon on them. Okay, and they can actually control hurricanes and make them go wherever they want. And if you see this current hurricane we got, I'm not going to mention the name, it's going backwards. You very rarely ever see a hurricane go from the west to the east. They're always going from the east to the west, or up along the east coast. And the Helene was just absolutely. There's nothing ever been like it before. These places were up 2,000 feet in elevation, and they got flooded with water. How on earth does that happen? It's like they just turned on an atmospheric river on that land. And isn't it coincidental that we have 2 back-to-back hurricanes 30 days away from the most important election in American history? And then isn't it ironic, in 2020, we had a virus that just happened to appear before the presidential election. So we got hurricanes and viruses now that appear before elections. Beloved, there are no coincidences. These evil people are doing this, and they have no regard for your life. And this is absolutely the epitome of evil. These people will stop at nothing to gain power. And beloved, I'm going to go ahead and put this up on YouTube. I hope they don't take it down, but don't fall for this nonsense. FEMA ran out of money. These people are doing this on purpose. They could care less about the American people. And this Biden and Harris know the American people hate them. And everything you see, all the polls you see right now, they're all lies. Everything, they do not tell the truth. Everything, all the statistics about the jobs report and the economy, all of them are lies. They are lying to you. Our economy right now is about to implode. We are right on the verge of a major economic catastrophe, beloved, and prepare yourself for this. So anyway, that's going to be it for this one, and much love from me to you. And this is why I do this, is for the brethren. I love you so much, and I love our God so much, and mainly this is why I do this, is for him, because I love him so much. Okay, we'll see you on the next one.